So interesting thing about the iPad 7th generation, came out way back in 2019. It doesn't even look dated yet considering what the iPad 9 looks like that just came out last year. Same looking screen on the front, same lightning charging port and headphone jack, so it would be pretty easy to confuse this with the newer iPad 9. But is the iPad 7 still worth it in 2022? Now I've seen this iPad for around $250 in brand new condition, so it hasn't really went down as much as you would think for an older tablet, especially considering the newer iPad 9 is only $329. For some reason, you only get the option of 32 or 128 gigabytes of storage, sort of how on the iPad mini 6, you only get 64 or 256 gigabytes of storage. Apple still does weird things like that for some reason. As far as the screen goes, you get a 10.2 inch, 2160 by 1620 resolution. It's got good viewing angles, plenty bright enough at 500 nits brightness, and sure, you're still gonna have those ugly black bars when watching YouTube videos, but for everything else, this screen looks just as good as the iPad 9 and probably better than most other tablets in this price range. It's got an 8,827 milliamp hour battery, which is a tad bigger than the iPad 9 battery, but still roughly the same battery life, just under 6 hours before dying completely in my battery drain test at 100% screen brightness. Of course, if you turn the screen brightness down, you can easily get through a couple days of normal usage. This iPad takes forever to charge back up, about 3 hours, which is pretty similar to the iPad 9. Now it's currently on iPadOS 15.6.1 and it should get iPadOS 16 later this year, so we'll have to see how it handles that once it gets updated. And after that update, it should be interesting to see how this works when connecting this to a keyboard and mouse, just to see if it feels a little bit better, and it should be a nice upgrade when using a keyboard and mouse once this gets iPadOS 16, so I'm kind of curious to see that as well. You can also use the first gen Apple Pencil, which can come in handy for taking notes, drawing, and so on, even if you do have to charge it through the lightning port, which is always kind of a strange thing to do. And it has the fingerprint scanner or Touch ID right there on the front. I mean, it does look a little dated that way, but it still works really good and is pretty reliable compared to the ones that have it built into the screen. As far as performance goes, it does have an older A10 Fusion processor, and it's not going to be the fastest tablet out there, but it's still pretty good in my opinion at 723 single core score, 1426 multi-core score. It's actually better than a lot of other budget tablets that are in this price range, and it still feels pretty snappy for a tablet that came out about 3 years ago. Even when playing games like PUBG Mobile, Asphalt 9, even Apex Legends Mobile looks pretty good on here. Again, it's kind of hard to tell how old this tablet is just when gaming. Overall, it still does a pretty good job even in 2022. Good thing is you've got a headphone jack on this tablet, and even though you'll notice it only has 2 bottom firing speakers, they're still surprisingly louder than you would think for this kind of setup. Let me give you a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like.
But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
One area that I feel like could be improved on this is when it comes to the cameras. You've got an 8 megapixel rear facing, but only a 1.2 megapixel for the front facing camera. And then you can record up to 1080p resolution for video. So you're not gonna get 4K resolution on this one. Here's a few samples just to give you an idea of what kind of quality you get on this iPad. So surprisingly, there's still quite a bit of things that are still good on this older iPad. Good performance, good screen quality. So it's good to see that it's still holding up even in 2022. But I think it would be hard for me to recommend this iPad when you can get the newer iPad 9 or possibly the iPad 10, which sounds like it's going to be a pretty big update for only a little bit more money than this one. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.